are you,
Hey,
Chris?
Jim.
Oh, it's a gorgeous background. Do you live in the city?
I live in Connecticut, right outside, but it is a background. I'm about 1 hour from New York City.
I'm a UConn grad. Go!
I know. I remember telling you. Yep. UConn is well, about a little over an hour and 15 minutes from where I live. But I know a lot of people went to UConn. Lots of people.
What town are you in?
I'm in around Danbury area.
What town?
Brookfield.
Yeah. I was in Meriden and Trumbull,
Yep.
and I was soliciting the biggest McDonald's franchise operator here in Arizona,
Yep.
and we were reminiscing, and I told him I was the youngest manager in the history of the McDonald's Corporation, which was the truth. It was 1965. I didn't work for a franchise. I worked for Ray Kroc.
You ready for Ray Kroc? I remember. I think when you and I had a one-on-one, I remember you mentioning that to me. I remember that. Yeah.
So when I said the word McCopco, he knew I was totally on the up and up. Let me ask you, because I just discovered a phenomenal thing, and when I discover, I like to share with professionals like you. Are you familiar with JV Directory?
Yes, I am familiar. I'm actually in the group. I just have not been active in about 4 or 5 months because I've been so busy and I haven't been able to be on.
Well, that's excellent. I've done my homework. You are a major speaker. Do you ever run across Lee Cockrell, the former executive vice president of Walt Disney World Resorts?
Know the name, but I have not crossed paths with him. But I speak at a lot of industry conferences and corporations direct. But Lee and I have not crossed paths. But I know you're talking about. Yeah.
Well, he gets $20,000 every time he steps on a stage.
Oh yeah, for keynotes. I wish I had more. I do about maybe 6, 7 keynotes a year at a bigger level. So I get about anywhere on the low end. Depends on if it's a smaller event. I can get anywhere from 10 to 25,000 is usually that range that I'm getting.
Wonderful. Have you ever been a TEDx speaker?
That I have not. I've been offered opportunities, but I've had other things going on. And don't get me wrong. I will do a TEDx, but it's not a major priority for me. But if the opportunity presents itself and I got the availability, then sure, I'll definitely do it.
Okay. Now, housekeeping. I am recording this, not via Zoom, but I have some special capabilities. And with your permission, I will distribute it very widely. I have a pretty good social media presence, and I am really honored to have you as a guest. I'll put you up on Easy Way Network, on my podcast page. I belong to like 130 Facebook groups. I'll give you all the distribution I possibly can.
Yeah, and I'll promote your end to all, not only on Facebook through my presence, but also on my LinkedIn influencer groups.
Thank you, because I've been banned from LinkedIn since, 2002.
Really? What happened?
I brought so much traffic to them, they didn't ever see anything like it. And when you don't understand something, people never research, they just react. And so they banned me instead of saying, that's pretty fantastic. What can we learn from you? And therefore, they do not get my call to action technology. And so be it, Microsoft. I can live without you, but maybe you're going to discover you may not be able to live without me. But moving right along. So, Chris, the question I always ask big players like you who are sharp and pick up on things, I can speak half sentences. So if I could put the most powerful communication tool in the palm of your hand, exactly what would you do with it?
I mean, what I would do with it is more or less share, information that is going to empower people in various areas of their personal life, business, and again, I would speak to the challenges that we all face that could be better, and then what are the potential results that you can have that you don't have now by learning to now change your way of thinking. Not to say that I'm going to tell them, but I'm going to share how we can learn to think from intentions, not expectations, because we can control intentions, we can't control expectations. So in learning how to control what you can control, letting go of what you can't control, and what you can't control is other people and situations, but what you can control is yourself from your intentions, and then how we can look at those challenges, opportunities, and then how we can turn those challenges into opportunities to create results. That's what I would use, that most effective communication tool, dripping it over time to get through to people that what's possible can be reality if they're willing to, let go of the old way of thinking.
Well, that answer just earned you a position on my board of directors for free that will make you a multi-millionaire. Would you like to know how I would answer that question?
Sure, please do.
I would like to save half the world.
Now, what about half? What about the other half?
Well, the half that I want to save is what I'm able to. And that's, guys, you and I, 1 in 6 of us are going to die with prostate cancer. It is 98% curable with a simple blood test. I am very grateful that I am a cured survivor. And my surgeon, Dr. Bill Catalona in Chicago, formerly from St. Louis University, was credited with inventing the PSA test. He did not, but it is a simple blood test that will save 98% of all people who take it. Now,
wow.
two stats. 28,000 men were not at the Thanksgiving Day table because they're too stubborn to click on links, scan call to action symbols, watch videos, listen to their loved ones, and they die. Now, I am very passionate about this, and we just completed Father's Day, which is a special day for me. I was in contact with Ed Randall, the voice of Major League Baseball on Sirius XM radio in New York. Yeah, he's the obnoxious Howard Stern's roommate, but he's also been my mentor since I was cured in 1990. And I informed him that he's going to get half of all the profits of my company after I take care of my board. The other half is going to go to ImmermanAngels.org. Ed and I met through that. They, on any type of cancer, anywhere in the world, they match a cancer fighter with a cancer survivor of the same exact profile within 24 hours. Now,
wow.
Unfortunately, every member of my family is a member of Immerman Angels. My wife had a double mastectomy. I lost my 38-year-old daughter to breast cancer. On her deathbed, she said 2 things. She said, Daddy, and she was a licensed clinical social worker in Colorado Springs. And she said, Daddy, I am so proud. Today I just became an Immerman Angel for a girl in California. So all the things she accomplished in her life, on her deathbed, this was the thing that had the most importance. Then she turned to me and she said, Dad, you've got some pretty broad contacts and a lot of skills. I want you to pay it forward with random acts of kindness. And from that day forward, I've devoted myself to doing, if you go to Facebook and you type in hashtag 41Angel, that's Lindsay, because she was my April 1st baby. So we are trying to positively impact the world. Then I lost my wife of 42 years because she thought I was stupid and an idiot, and put me actually in a adult assisted rehabilitation center, a nut house, for 10 months because I was misdiagnosed as bipolar instead of a genius. And I'm soliciting that company, by the way, as a client now that I've got all the data to shove up the doctor's ass. But that's what I do, and I am exceptionally passionate. I will send you one link so that you can see our formation meeting from the board of directors, but it's truly world class. I only missed two. I didn't get Lee Cockrell, and I didn't get Sheriff Mark Lamb, but I got everybody else. Now, the Megamix Expo, are you familiar with that?
I've heard of it, but I'm not. Maybe give me some more insight. But I've heard of it. Yes.
Well, you gave me an invitation that I committed to, so thank you. I'm going to give you an invitation that I strongly suggest you take advantage of. They put on these mega networking events for small business. The one that exploded my career, my job, was February, let me get it right, February 8th. Walmart was the 4 o'clock featured speaker. I was the 5 o'clock and Eric was the 6 o'clock. To say that it changed my world is an understatement. I spent $7,600 on a first-class airfare ticket from China to make sure that the 1,000 Magic Cubes arrived. And my supplier, Braziel, God bless you, she performed miracles to hit that deadline. And everything has exploded since then. Eric and I could not be any closer. I bought a metaverse company. I bought a company in Vancouver, British Columbia that's in Web3. I mean, there's just so much that's happened since February 8th. So I strongly suggest that you touch base with the board that I have. They will all welcome you with open arms. And you'll see that we can actually change the world. The irony is in a board meeting, and we have very diverse backgrounds, but every single member of the board was dedicated to education. Isn't that a surprise? Not making
That's a great thing, I think, because education is how we empower people to take that knowledge and actually use it. I not only do I do that when I speak and I share, I never tell, I share. So I'm an educator in a different way. But I also, I do on the side, I'm an adjunct at Westchester Community College. I sit on the board of the University of New Haven's Executive MBA program. So I like to blend the education with the business, for people to take action with. So I always think it's a good thing for both. Yeah.
Well, thank you for your involvement in New Haven. My drummer graduated from there. He had one job his entire life. He lived in Hampton Beach, New Hampshire. He was with Medtronics, and I hope.
I know him. Yeah, Medtronics out of Minnesota. That's where they're headquartered. Yeah.
Yeah, and I hope neither you nor I nor any of our friends need his product, right?
Yeah, exactly.
So let me build on your current knowledge. What do you know about QR codes? How do you use them? And how do you see them fitting in?
I wouldn't say I'm not an expert like you, Jim, in it, but I use QR codes as a way for make it convenient, accessible for people that if I've given them value at that point, let's say if I'm speaking at a conference or an entrepreneurial event, whatever, I'm now, as I give value and there's a call of action for them to take, I invite them if they want to now, take it a step further, that if they would like to, discuss that, what they're going to take action on, and they would like more personalized future insight, here's some information they could tap into and also where they can get in contact with me. And then there's a QR code either to a landing page or my website, whatever that may be, depending upon what whatever I'm talking on. So I use it as a way, to close out a talk, and and it's up there for a few minutes while I'm doing Q&A. People are seeing it, and then they're taking their phone and capturing the link to take them where I'd like them to go.
Now, with your very heavy travel schedule, how much of your internet contact is on a mobile device versus sitting in front of a PC, which I assume you're doing right now?
Well, yeah, I mean, I'm on a PC now, but yeah, I would say that, yeah, probably mostly it's when I'm speaking, or at a conference, or if I'm on a webinar or a virtual thing, that's it. Not so much on, any place else on a mobile device. So, yeah.
All right. You're an excellent listener, I can tell just from previous conversations. And that's a much more important skill than being a phenomenal orator, because we have to listen people into change, not talk them into change, right?
Correct.
So how open-minded are you on bleeding edge technology?
Well, I would say that I'm all for bleeding edge technology. I like to call it disruptive technology. I guess you could call it whatever you like, but technology that's going to enhance what you're already good at. So I'm a big proponent of working on your business, not in your business. So meaning that if I know things that are important and urgent, yet I can delegate it, then I'd rather have technology or a tool that will do that for me, so I can focus on the things that absolutely require my presence to do. Now, if I got to do all of that, I can't possibly dedicate the amount of time and energy to do all of that. So I don't want to become dependent on a technology or tool, but only that it will complement what I'm already doing in terms of value and creating a valuable customer experience. So I am a big proponent of working with and complementing what you do best with what technology can help you do what you do best, and allowing that technology to do what it does best.
Okay, what's the number one yardstick, the number one measurement that you apply to your business to give you the answer of whether you're hitting your goals, whether you can do a little bit better, or whether you're falling a little behind?
Well, I mean, there's a lot of KPIs that I use depending upon what I'm tracking. I mean, I always feel that data is the king when it comes to knowing where you are and where you decide to be. But I mean, if I'm going to roll it all up, what's the ultimate indicator is my net profit margin. And if my net profit margin in the business that I'm in is higher than the industry average, at least as a whole, then I know my business has increased its valuation. So I know now my business is worth more than say most businesses in my segment. So that would be the overall. But there are going to be a lot of other KPIs that will play a role in helping me, to determine where I am and where I'm going. It could be what is the cost to acquire a new client? What is that based on the buyer's journey? How many touch points? How can I? What's working that I can decrease that number of touch points that's converting a client or converting a prospect into a client? That could be an important thing. Retention is another one. So there's a lot of them, but always the net profit margin is always going to be hey, that's telling me my business is now worth more because I have I'm showing a consistent net profit margin that's higher than the industry average.
Well, for the audience that may not be as sophisticated a marketer as you are, KPI means key performance indicators. Yep. And you're right, that is just absolutely critical. The one I focus on is ROI, seeing as how it's the first three letters of my domain, return on investment. And when I earlier asked you the question about the most powerful communication tool known to mankind, that I very definitely can put in the palm of your hand, guaranteed. But on the ROI, I suspect that I could probably improve your excellent ROI in a factor of 2 to 5x. And we can talk about exactly how we could do that using mobile technology. I want to ask you questions about the metaverse. And please take a minute, because you and Eric, if you could run yourself through a Xerox machine just think about how much better this world would be, right?
Oh, yeah.
So you have limitations. Have you?
Oh, we all do. We all have blind spots, and I know what I'm good at. I know what I'm not good at, and that's why I delegate, the things that I'm not good at. Or even if I am good at it, but yet I know I can delegate it because my time is better spent in the areas that really require a person to be involved. Then that's what I do. I know that if I'm going to grow my business, or even if I'm coaching people, because that's what I do in that area, then I got to do it for myself. I got to practice what I preach. And so those are the things that I find that you got to use your time wisely, because you can't do everything every time in your business. It's impossible.
So have you delved into the VA world?
Yes, I do have assistants. I have what we call, I guess you could call them appointment setters that work by LinkedIn. They will help with the copyright and putting that together personalized messages that we reach out to people on Sales Navigator or regular LinkedIn. Usually most of my audience is there. They're not usually on Instagram or Facebook too much. But we do that on a daily, when I say a daily basis, literally almost 7 days a week, we're doing this. Maybe Sundays, not as much. But we consistently are setting meetings on my schedule, especially for my custom speaker influencer program, which that concept works really well. I find with my higher ticket items, when it comes to doing business acceleration strategy and coaching, while I still use that format also, I get a lot of my bigger ticket stuff from speaking. So when I speak, I impact people, I provide value, they come up to me, we have a conversation, we do a one-on-one, build that rapport and trust, and then out of so many people I talk to doing that, people become a client. They hire me, their companies hire me to do something. So I do use VAs for appointment setting. I also have them, they work my social media, so they do a lot of my content. Well, I create a lot of my content, but they take the content and put it in ways that make it more easily to digest and make nicer collateral to go along with it to attract people for engagement. So those are the areas that I use VAs. And then other than that, I have a bookkeeper that does my bookkeeping, and I have a CPA that does my taxes, and I wouldn't say they're VAs, but yeah, I'm always leveraging people what they do best, so I can focus on what I do best.
Well, again, for the audience, VA usually means virtual assistant, but
Yep.
one of the big companies in that space uses the word vital assistant, and I happen to agree with them, right?
Well, I think it is. I think, yeah, I know it does, just because it's online, because a lot of times VAs have been known to be elsewhere, right? Philippines or, Nicaragua, or it could be Costa Rica or, now Venezuela. They're everywhere, But I like vital because they are vital, because they take on the tasks that are vitally important and urgent, but yet are better being delegated, because when you look at your EBITDA and you look at your profit and loss statement, if I'm spending more of my time there and factoring in what my hourly rate would be, then I'm not. That's not using my time well. I rather pay them to do that so I can focus on the other areas that are going to close more deals and build better relationships. And so that's just a good use of your time. So I'm all for vital assistance, if that's what you're calling it. Yeah.
Yes. I want to touch on two others quickly. And I forgot the first one because I give you so much attention when I listen to you. AI. Can you give me a couple examples of where AI has been a game changer for your business?
Oh my God, yes. I mean, I'll just, because of the sake of time, I'll just keep it to one. But for me, it's content creation. I mean, not that I depend on AI and using the content verbatim. It's more or less taking what I'm going to share, what I'm going to say, and letting AI give me a foundation for it or an outline. I use it for my talks. I use it for speaking descriptions and takeaways. but I don't use it verbatim. I use it as a guide and a benchmark for comparison, and then I add in my stuff on a personal level to it, and it cuts my time like by 70% or more in terms of creating that content. So I'm able to get a lot more things done and allow me to put more time into the priorities that matter. And it's a game changer. So, I mean, I don't care if it's ChatGPT, Claude AI, there's a bunch of them out there. They're all, really good. The paid versions are always going to be better than the free versions. But even if you want to dabble in the free version, I mean, it still gives a lot of value, no doubt about it.
Well, one of the things that I'll share with you is that I never wanted to be an entrepreneur. I got forced into this situation in a $4 billion merger that the International Trade Commission went thumbs down on. But one of the things I came out of was a skill. And the company I formed was called PowerPoint2YouTube.com. And that should be pretty self-explanatory. And you'll notice when all the podcasts that I do, I actually use that skill set. So I will do that with this podcast, and we will turn it into a video, which will be my gift to you, sir. Now,
that'd be fabulous.
In your business, I can't think of a better candidate to utilize the metaverse with a virtual reality avatar. Now, the technical term is called a digital twin, but instead of you traveling all over the world, have you thought of using Web3 as your main platform to do your presentations, to drive your audience, to take your LinkedIn crowd and teach them another color of the rainbow? Have you given that much thought, research? Tell me where you are there.
I'm familiar with Web 3.0. I wouldn't say that I am nowhere near an expert, someone that you're not going to find me talking on it. I could probably talk to AI much better from a business sense than I can do Web 3.0. But I'm a big believer that we all have to be up to speed on the right platforms and tools that are going to enhance and make our business more valuable, and not only just to us, but even more valuable to the audience or industries we serve.
All right, well, that's going to be my pinch on you moving forward, my recommendation. And in full transparency, I am the Vice President of New Business Development for Beyond XR Studios. And that's a platform that my buddy, who is voted Professor of the Year worldwide, Dr. John Kalaris, who's also on my board, he's moving his entire $100 million university over onto this metaverse platform. Eric is moving into it, so is Tony, who does Megamix Expo, and I think you're the prime prospect. So I will hold your hand, introduce you. I strongly suggest that we have another meeting that will be a demo so that you can get to see the full enchilada. Is that a fair deal?
Sure, yeah, absolutely.
All right, let me close with a gift and a question. My gift is, during this time of unemployment, I never held a camcorder in my hand in my life. And from there I went to producing 13 DVDs to educate a board of directors of the largest nonprofit job search group in Chicago that I was leading. And then I had a $500,000 TV control room with a crew of 8 that broadcast the Catholic Mass across all of Chicagoland on Comcast Public TV. All because of this one book that I'm going to give to you. Now, you can go to Amazon and download the hard copy, or, and I would suggest and download the Audible copy. I can't do that for you because it'll be on your device.
Yeah, you got to download it. I can download it to my phone where I can listen. You can play it in the car. Yeah.
So if you would send me that receipt, please, and don't drag your feet, I actually want to pay it. I will pay that bill by PayPal overnight. Now, what is the number one book that you would recommend to our audience that gave you the greatest leg up to be as successful as you are? And can you please state the full name of your business, Chris?
Yeah, I operate my coaching and consulting under Sustainable Success Coaching and Consulting, and that is a division of CRS Group Holdings. So that's the holding company, because we also get involved in commercial investments, and we're involved in commercial lending as well. We did that for a little while, and that's where also my professional speaking falls under as well, so it's a holding company. But yeah, that would be it. Sustainable Success Coaching and Consulting, a division of CRS Group Holdings. In terms of a book, I mean, I got so many books that I love that are out there, and I can say that, God, what would I recommend? To me, it's going to be, how could I, God, there's so many of them, and I got to now choose one. I got to do that. But I would say that a book that, if I'm, there's many, but I'm just going to pick one because it's a friend of mine who put out this book a little while ago. I'm not saying it's just recent, it's been out for a while. But it's The Go-Giver by Bob Berg. And Bob Berg's a friend of mine, lives in Florida, Jupiter, Florida. And I've always been a go-giver most of my career. Like I always say, give without expectation, receive without resistance. And that's what the go-giver mentality is about. It's about going in. It's not going out of your way to please and enable people. That's codependent behavior. But it's knowing how to give from empathy and kindness, empowering people through your example and resourcefulness, and allowing them now to do for themselves. So this way that you, even though it may be uncomfortable for them, you're helping them to become more interdependent versus codependent. And like I said, when you give without expectation, it comes back to you in another way. So if it serves you and your business, you receive it without resistance. You don't resist. And then just repeating that cycle, you could call it the law of prosperity, law of attraction, whatever you want to call it. That's how I like to operate, the go-giver mentality.
Well, I heard the expression that if you want to see somebody who is stuck and doesn't want to change and grow, just ask him how big his TV screen is, right?
yeah, there you go.
And if you want to
that's why my one is not it's small.
And on the reverse side, if you want to see somebody who really wants to grow and learn for every day that he takes a breath, ask him about the breadth of his library in his
There you go. I got a bookshelf right over there.
So one last question before I give you a final closing opportunity. You're, I think, a little bit over 29, so you've gained this thing that from failure that they call success in experience, right?
Yes.
So when you were below 29, what advice would the above 29 Chris Salem give to the below 29 Chris Salem, or to the friend he was trying to coach when he was 21 to 29 to 35?
God. I was not in a good place in my first 31 years. So, but the advice I would give is, you got to, stop overthinking. A lot of the things that we think, we create in our minds are not really true in reality. And if we can learn now to focus our attention to what we can control, and that is our own communication to ourselves and other people, our behavior, our attitude, it's happening for you, not to you, knowing how to respond versus react to other people in situations, and taking massive actions to the priorities that matter from intentions, and then letting go of the control you can't control, and that is the same 5 things I just mentioned in other people and situations. Trust the process from intentions. Get away from attachments tied to outcomes. You will save yourself a lot of grief, a lot of feeling overwhelmed, a lot of stress, a reduction in stress and anxiety, and more likely not to overthink. Those are the things that I wish I could have had that advice and did much earlier than later.
All right, I realize they didn't give you the name of the book. It's called Made to stick. 3 words. Made to stick. You can find it easily on Amazon. Now, I describe business planning as building a stool that's got either 3 or 4 legs to it. Doesn't need to be any more complicated than that.
Yeah.
3 minutes, fine. What would your stool be? What are the legs holding up the stool of your enterprise?
That's fantastic. It's always a foundation, and without a foundation, just like if you have a beautiful home, if that house doesn't have a strong foundation, that beautiful home is going to have problems and issues. So it's always making sure that I'm maintaining and sustaining my foundation. That's both personal and in business. I have to make sure that I'm doing my daily routine to take care of myself emotionally, mentally, spiritually, financially, physically, occupationally, intellectually, and environmentally. Those are the 8 pillars of wellness that I have to make sure I'm in harmony. It's not about perfect balance. A seesaw would never be perfectly balanced on its axis point. It teeters. And then also in my business, again, knowing how to prioritize correctly, know how to leverage my strengths and offset my weaknesses, utilizing systems, tools, and processes that help make my business run more efficient. So without that foundation, myself and my business don't have legs to stand on. We're constantly like sinking into quicksand and treading water, so to speak. So I always say, never overestimate your foundation. Take care of it, pay attention to it daily, nurture it, and it'll take care of you.
Well, what 2 things could I bring to your life that would have the greatest value and be the best thank you I could give you?
Yeah, I would say that if there's any insights on anything that could help my business in terms of being more efficient, more productive, then hey, I'll definitely take a look at it.
Talk to me about the top 2 or 3 personal things, both that you struggle with, right? You haven't yet achieved, and those that you're pretty darn proud of. What are those personal things away from business? Because all the entrepreneurs have to understand the reason they chose this path is they wanted to not separate work from life. They wanted to marry it.
Yeah. I would say that again, I know what I'm good at. I know how to make businesses successful. I know how to speak well. I know how to communicate at a high level. I know how to lead by example. For me, it's I'm not very technically oriented. I understand technology in terms of how to apply it, how it relates to business and how it can enhance business, but actually deploying it and implementing it is another story. Those are the areas that I'm not do well, or those would be considered my weak areas.
Well, thank you again. I'll just close with a prayer for the Huskies to continue. Let's see another year.
We got our coach. He didn't jump to the Lakers, so he's with us for another year.
And we just got to get both the girls and the guys to do it.
We got to get them on the same page. I think we can do it. We can do it. We get back to the old Calhoun days. We were there with Gino too, right? They were a powerhouse, both of them. Yeah.
Well, the next time we talk, I want to twist your arm so you can do some research. Research Lions Club. I happen to be very humble and privileged to be handling communications for the largest philanthropic organization in the world, not tied to a religion. 1.5 million members, and our motto is #WeServe and #Kindness Matters. So in all of your free time, you may take a look at it. The phrase is, I joined to help with my community, and I stayed to have fun.
No, I love it.
Well, thank you so much.
Thank you so much, Jim. I appreciate it.
I just had a pine cone hit the top of my RV. It scared the heck out of me.
Oh no, God! Thank God it was that and nothing else. But this was great. I have to jump for a client in 1 minute. But let me know whatever you want me to do with this. I'm going to promote it like crazy. So, and we can chat. We can set up another time to continue this conversation.
Thank you, sir. Have a great one.
Talk soon.
Bye-bye.
Bye.